Our first day of the Last Chance Summer Shred. I'm going to read from my here's my journal. I use a notebook. I got a lot of codes that I use, so it's easy to write down. But I'll have to interpret it for you. If I let you read it, you wouldn't figure it out. Okay, so this is Monday, May 13th, basically the first full day. Let's see if I can. Well, basically, I did the workout. I did kind of the similar to what I was suggesting you guys do, which is kind of a body weight, getting back into it workout. I did push-ups. Really just one set. I did a pretty good warm-up first. Push-ups, the time under tension, the sort of slow set. Then I did the dead hang. I did my dead hang as part of my stretching out. And I got 75 seconds for my max dead hang for my baseline. And then after that, I did some pull-ups. That's a set of pull-ups. Only could do 3. I'm kind of weak now. I did 3 pull-ups. Actually, they were chin-ups. I had the reverse grip. And then for the hip hinge, I did the bridge. The hip thrust bridge. And if you don't know what that is, anybody that needs a video or something, actually let me know tomorrow. We have the webinar tomorrow. I can. But what I did, they're basically laying on the ground. What I do is I get up on like a pad, one of those floor pads, and it was folded up, so it's about 3 inches thick, and I get it under my upper back, so that really now when your butt comes down, it actually has to, it goes a little bit further below the plane of your body. Other than if you're on the ground, it'd be all one plane. So if you get a little pad under your hips, it forces you to extend that upper back. I have a really tight thoracic spine, and it's always cramped up, and so forcing that extension of your spine is a good thing, as part of the warm-up. So or any time, So I did my hip thrust that way to get a little more extension. Squatting, what I did a wall squat first. I did a 60-second wall squat, at 90 degrees, and then I just did a set of slow bodyweight squats. And then for the carry, I just got 2, it looks like 40-pound dumbbells, so fairly light, and I just walked around. I didn't time it. I just walked around the gym a little bit until they got kind of, the forearms burning. Okay, now I went in and did this dynamic workout. This is something that I'm going to have you guys doing, at least by the start of the last 4 weeks when we really get into the more serious lifting. But I may, if you're farther along, if you're feeling good, if you've actually been working out recently and you're not just coming into this totally cold, this might be something that you could start earlier as well. So this is, again, we can talk about this tomorrow in the webinar. But there's this dynamic workout that's really intended to. I mentioned we want to get the alactic system going, and I'm going to have a separate video on that, just describing energy systems. But the idea is to sort of have short, sort of higher duration bursts of exercise, and then enough rest so that your system resets, so that you don't get into where your heart rate gets up really high and you start to use the glycolytic system, for energy to stay on this alactic, and it's good for it stimulates kind of the type 2 muscle fiber, even though this is the weights are a little bit light when I'm getting started out. But so what I was doing was the thruster. If you know what a thruster is, it's basically a front squat with an overhead press when you come up. So you squat. And I was just doing it with dumbbells. I had 2 light dumbbells, just 25 pounds in each, so it's pretty light, down and up. So what you're trying to do is get a rep. You want to get about 8 to 10 seconds of exercise, of exertion, and then rest for the rest of the minute. And you go every minute on the minute. And I started out with 10 minutes. So about 4 reps, 4 thrusters was about 8, 10 seconds. So that's what I did each time. I did 4 thrusters, rested for the remainder of that minute, and I did 10 rounds of that. Okay, so that was my workout. Let's see, anything else in there? Another thing I'm doing, I had this low back strength workout. This is just an aside. My low back's been kind of just, not feeling strong and stuff. So I'm going to do this low back strength program that I have in addition to this other work. I mean, I think it's complementary because we're not really going to be doing a lot of deadlifting and stuff like that. So anyway, so I did that, the kind of the beginning of that, which is just some hyper extensions on the back extension bench, supersetted with some planks, like the regular elbow planks. So I just did the beginning. The beginning of that's fairly easy. 3 sets of 10 of the back extensions, supersetted with a set of planks for 60 seconds. So you do the back extension, then go to the plank, and back and forth. So I did 3 of those. I did those at the end of the night when I got home. They weren't actually, so I didn't do that at the same time I was working out, but it doesn't matter. But I'm gonna do that kind of through the 6 weeks too, because see if I can get my low back feeling better. Okay, I intermittent fasted also today. This is something I kind of do a lot, almost all the time. So I'm further along than you guys on the nutrition side. This is definitely something we're going to get into. And again, kind of when we get into it, I'm going to sort of fill you out tomorrow. But I did it like an 18-hour intermittent fast. Started last night at about 8 o'clock. I ate at the first time. It was almost 2:30 when I ate for the first time. And this is, we'll talk about intermittent fasting and extended fasting and how it's good and how to do it and different things. But again, this becomes actually easy to do once you get fat adapted and you have your diet kind of straightened out. When you're really a sugar burner and you're used to like eating all the time at the typical cycle where you get the shot of blood glucose up and down, type of thing. If you try, when you try fasting, when that's your baseline, it's a little bit more difficult. I mean, you'll get hungry fairly quickly, and you kind of rely on brute willpower as opposed to, it's pretty easy for me to do these type of things, and it will be for you as well once you make the transition. But we're going to do a lot of fasting in this 6 weeks, so you're going to have a shot at it pretty soon. But I did it today because, like I say, I kind of do it most of the time anyway. Let's see. So I did the intermittent fast. Okay, from what I ate today, I basically drank coffee and tea this morning. I'm going black. I'm not even doing my heavy cream because, I'm trying to just keep. I wanted to keep that intermittent fast intact, and I'm trying to eliminate any sort of extraneous calories that I don't really need, and that heavy cream, I don't really need it. So and then I drank a lot of water. I got 3. So I mark every time I drink quarts. I have to have my liter bottle, and I drank 3 of those today, which is about what I try to get, 3 quarts a day. But the other stuff I ate, I kind of, when I first ate at about 2:30, I had sardines. I had a can of sardines, and I had this salad, but it was basically chard and cabbage and whatever else I had. Didn't have a lot of stuff. I had some olives in it. I put some sauerkraut in it, and just oil and vinegar on it. I ate that, and then I ate again at about 6 o'clock, just some chicken and a little more sauerkraut and some olives. And actually, I had kefir. I had about 10 ounces of kefir. I make my own kefir. I had some kefir. That was at the first eating today. That's what I consumed today. Let's see, what else is going on here? The supplements are on here somewhere. Okay, I did my vitamin D3. I did the creatine. I'm just starting to load the creatine. And you probably want to start doing that too. I mean, I'm going to suggest the creatine as kind of not even more than just a muscle building supplement. I think it's really a core supplement, and I haven't used it that way myself in the past. I used to use it just periodically because I believe that it made me hold water. It might not, because I didn't really experiment that effectively, but we'll find out. But it's definitely very advantageous for building muscles and for a lot of other, general health stuff. It's actually a very, very well-researched supplement and beneficial. So, but creatine, I did my fish oil, magnesium. I do this like cacao powder. It actually has a lot of magnesium in it as well, but it's an antioxidant. It's my power's about to die. I don't know if I gotta close this up. I'll talk about this later. I had the cacao, I had my collagen protein, And I'll see you guys tomorrow on the webinar. My phone's about to die here, so I'll put the, if you haven't seen the webinar link, it's actually in the training program, and also I'll attach it to this email in case you didn't see it. So talk to you all tomorrow.